what is PR? It's all about relationship building. And also in that relationship, it's getting others to talk about you. Because really at the end of the day, there's like marketing and advertising, which again, these days there's some organic ways and there's some costly ways. PR is probably the highest risk investment you can make, but can have the highest reward, because the benefit of PR, and PR being a form of marketing, is that it's others talking about you versus you talking about you. So it's one thing for Simon to say, I have the best fish in the world, buy my fish, they're amazing. But if someone else is like Xavier's, man, you got to check out Simon's fish, they're so good. He makes the best fish sticks, he makes the best smoked salmon, he's incredible. You're really going to listen to Xavier because, man, that's a third-party source saying it. So again, what we're going to talk mostly today is PR, like public PR. But if you think about it, even working with micro influencers where they're talking about you, that's a form of PR. I use the term, and something to think about just to plant a seed. This next year is going to be huge for what's called silent social. So silent social is social media channels that we don't have access to, your ads don't have access to, you don't even access to. So that could be, I'm just gonna use Maria again. Maria, I'm putting you on the spot today, but a mom's group in Chilliwack, right? They have a Facebook group. There is a dad's group in Chilliwack who has a WhatsApp chat. There's a Discord server for gamers in Chilliwack area. And so Maria has a business that has really cool items in her store, and they just brought in all these new Pokemon items, and they're really great. She got this shipment of Pokemon cards, let's just say. And in the mom's chat, if someone's, hey, you got to check out the store, it's really awesome, here it is, they just got a new bunch of Pokemon cards in, you got to check it out, you see a huge spike in traffic to your store. But it's one of those things where it's like, you technically can't go into those groups and post that because they know you're not already an existing member. But if you've got fans, you've got advocates, you've got customers who love you, one thing to be thinking about on the PR side from a micro PR side and a silent social side is, how do you empower those people to talk about your business in places you can't get to? So essentially, how do you get people to talk behind your back in a positive way? How do you empower them? How do you encourage them? And so that's why, even again, as crazy as it sounds, if you get anything from today, as much as PR can be like overwhelming and be like, oh, I'm intimidated by media and news publications and radio and newspaper and TV, like finding 5 fans, like 5 people who have bought stuff from you, who like you, who maybe they love you, but they're just big fans of what you do in your company. How do you empower them to advocate on your behalf? How do you give them JPEGs or graphics or Canva design pieces that they can share in the groups that they belong to? And again, those 5 may not belong to any groups and there's no benefit, but ideally there may be a member of 1 or 2 groups that they can get the word out. So again, it's managing that reputation, managing who you are, and more importantly, what people say about you. So who? Again, this would be essentially you as the owner, but then also working with your team, working with any sort of staff you might have, and also if you don't have staff and if you are a solopreneur, empowering those advocates around you. So some of the benefits, the increased trust, that's a huge one. So one of the big things that we say, and things I love about PR again, is not only those backlinks, which is the invisible juice that it gives your website, but as soon as someone comes to the site, and if you're thinking about, man, do I want to buy that fish or not? Aurora's thinking about it, she's on the fence, but right away if you see as seen in on the front page of the site, like the minute you get your first PR land, add that as seen in section on your website, because it just adds so much trust and validity to who you are as an organization. Because the first thing they want to see is, okay, they're a legitimate group. There's a third-party source talking about them. As much as newspapers and TV might say, oh, or people say digital's taking over TV and there's no point to have the news anymore, there's still a built-in trust factor that they have, and there is still something nice about an editorial review of who you are as an organization. Helps with a positive reputation. Again, gives you a great excuse to send something out in an e-newsletter for people to think about you, get excited about you. And again, ideally we're not going to talk about crisis. Hopefully we're not doing crisis stuff, but again, PR is huge. If something bad happens, something awkward happens, PR is designed to also prevent that from damaging your business or shutting down your business. Relationship with the media. So again, whether it's your local newspaper, your provincial territory TV station, radio, CBC, getting that relationship with them, building it up. And again, it's keeping it small. Find 3 reporters and fall in love with them is my big encouragement. Find 3 writers and fall in love with them. And it might be 2-2-1 or whatever that looks like. But pick up the newspapers that your potential customers read, follow the news that they're following, and find out what those reporters are interested in. And again, don't go big. And I know this is where I think PR can be intimidating, is I got to get everyone to cover my story. But it's start with 3. Who are 3 reporters that might be interested in what you're doing, who are covering something similar, but maybe not what you're doing? And then you might even write that reporter and be like, hey, I noticed that you covered blank, but have you considered covering what I do? And this is why I think this is a good story. Or I've got a great story for you. I've got someone great you can interview. Especially when you're talking TV, think someone great to interview. You've got a great visual. When you think radio, you think I've got some great data or information that's fascinating to your listeners. When you think print, think, okay, I've got maybe a good photo op, or I've got a really good listicle, which is an article in form of a list that is really helpful to your readers. 5 reasons that fish can help you get ready for a great summer bod, right? Or whatever, I don't know, Simon, whatever Simon can come up with, but it's like readers love listicles, so articles in the form of lists, and Google loves them as well. And the other thing I like about PR is that it can be the most cost-effective way of marketing. So again, high risk, high reward. If you can do it right, your business can just zoom like wild. Like we've seen it time and time again when kind of lightning hits. And sometimes it happens and we don't even notice it. So we use a tool, which if you don't have it set up yet, it's called Google Alerts. It's totally free, but I would put your personal name in there, put your business name in there, put your ex's name in there, whatever you want to put. Maybe don't put your ex's name in there, but it tells you every time that word, that term is used on the internet, and it alerts you. So again, sometimes we'll see a huge spike in our analytics of referring traffic or a ton of forms being filled out, and we'll realize someone had written about us on Reddit, or someone had written about our client on Quora, or someone had written us and quoted us in an article and we didn't even know, or they had mentioned us in an article. And that's where analytics, which again, we did a whole another session on that, but understanding your Google Analytics is so crucial because to keep an eye on it on the referring traffic. So again, sometimes you might even see that and be like, wow, that's a great referring traffic thing. Maybe I should follow up with that source and maybe see if I can get a bigger article or get more traffic from that source because that's working really well for us. Thought leadership is another one. So again, you might be like, you know what? I know a lot about fish. I'm Simon, I'm smart. I got a great photo above me here. I'm just going with that, Simon, because you're here and you're hydrating and it's awesome. You seem friendly and you just know stuff. And again, it may not initially directly affect your business, but again, if you write a great thought leadership piece and what's called the author bio or the byline mentions your business name, A, that's a great backlink. And B, those that are like, wow, Simon knows his stuff. I'm going to go fishing with him or I want to buy his fish. They click on that link in your bio and that gets traffic to your site. And it's nice qualified traffic where they've got to know you, they know what you're about, and it comes to your site and they are warmed up and prepared. Where sometimes if you just run an ad or you just get direct traffic or someone just stumbles upon your site, there isn't that quality of referral. So again, every time when we study analytics, the traffic that comes from the press and the media always spends more time on your site and typically makes a decision that we want them to make, whether it's signing up for your e-newsletter, making a purchase, or inquiring about your product or service. PR planning. Bit of research and background. And again, you may not need to do too much because you're in this, you're in the thick of it. You want to figure out who your objectives are, your key audiences, your key messages. What is your timeline? Do you have a budget? Because in some ways, and this is one sad thing about how PR is shifting in some ways, some outlets are a pay-to-play method only. So you have to pay to write an op-ed or you have to pay to write a listicle. So for example, Entrepreneur Magazine, not Futurepreneur, don't give me, Entrepreneur Magazine has a leadership group you can be a part of where you can pay like X dollars a year and you can start writing for them as part of their leadership council. Forbes magazine has a similar thing. You can join a Forbes council. There's different types and you can start writing for Forbes. But there's still a lot of great publications out there that are allowing people to write op-eds and listicles purely because you have great content to share. And that's why this part's so important to be like, hey, what do I want to write about? What am I so smart on? And sometimes it takes a friend or a family member to be like, hey, what do I rant about all the time? What am I always talking about? And maybe that's your article. And if you're like me, you're not, like, I'm not a strong writer. So there's a really great tool. It's actually built right into Zoom. It's an AI note taker. There's a few out there. There's one called Otter, like the animal. There's a Fathom. There's a few of these things that you can just talk and record you ranting, or someone, a friend of yours interviewing you on maybe a Zoom chat, and then it will actually transcribe your rant or your talk or your ideas into an article. And this is where ChatGPT can be useful. You can then take that article that's maybe written decently because you were just ranting and be like, please rewrite this with a grade 10 reading level. Or please write this in the style of the Globe and Mail. So again, ChatGPT is not great to write original content because, again, it's just taking other people's stuff and reworking it. And there's totally tons of issues with plagiarism and issues around that. But it's an amazing editor. It's an amazing personal assistant to take what you've ranted about. And again, I'm just using me as an example. I'm not a strong writer, but I can rant onto Zoom. It transcribes it. I can then literally copy and paste that in ChatGPT and be like, please make this sound smart. And it rewrites it in a smart sounding way with your original concept, your original thoughts, but just done in a really sophisticated manner. Yay for editors. And again, it's a free editor right now, which is lovely. Again, what are the success metrics? I think a big one is, what is the domain authority of the site that is linking back to you? And secondly is, did you add it to the as seen in section? A lot of people also add it to their email signature. Check me out, I was just featured in blank. It's also a really good thing to get. So again, a goal. What is it? SMART goals are great: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. And so that's why I like saying, find out three publications you want to appear in, 3 publications, just 3, start with 3. And again, it could be like, hey, I've actually got something new that's never been done before. I have new data, I have new information. Then that's a pitch with a news release and it's new ideas. But the other one is like, hey, I don't have anything new, but I've got a really good listicle, like an article in the form of a list, or I've got a really good opinion editorial, and I could submit those to the editor. Both work well. The pitch, you have to know that it has to be good enough that they're like, okay, I'm gonna assign this to a writer, and our publication is gonna pay a writer to do this and report on it. And a lot of news outlets don't have as many reporters as they used to, so just know that it's gotta be good. This op-ed listicle is, wow, Simon, you just gave me an article for free. This is amazing. Make sure that it's good and it's not all salesy. If it's all about, my fish are the best, Simon's fish are the coolest, no one else is good, they're not gonna publish that. Or they're gonna be like, oh, go to our advertorial people and pay to get this published. But if it's actually agnostic enough that it's like, hey, this is helpful, this is a really good article, there's a good chance that they'll actually publish it for you.